Managers Association, the media and football players and supporters right across the board. We have a very important role to play. Having been among some of the best players in Hyndburn in the domestic football circuit, having played for Accrington Stanley in the early stages of promotion of my town club and winning everything from leagues, cups and tournaments, myself and co-presenters speak with one voice on behalf of many current and former players, white, black and Asian, who join us in wanting to see positive change within the football industry. Diversity being our number one agenda. Will the industry match our passion and vision for the future? Can it be brave enough to offer the leadership we need? Let's find out. Alongside myself today, we have our guest, Mr. Khalid Esat, a former semi-pro level 4 referee. He brings with him 20 plus years of grassroots experience, a background where his father helped promote football by establishing a platform for young Asian footballers in Blackburn. Now he runs and manages a men's senior team, Blackburn Elite FC in Blackburn, of course. He's helping to bring and promote diversity and a mentor, highlighting and addressing key aspects of the game for our youth today. So, Khalid, thank you very much for coming on the show with us today. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a real pleasure to have you. As the intro goes, we have issues within the football community and the industry itself with regards to ethnic minority backgrounds coming through to top flight football. I would like to touch on a few points with you today and hopefully try to get the top and bottom of this and create awareness so that we could start to get some movement in this area. One of the first questions I have for you, Khalid, and I am a little bit wary of the time that we have, although we love to speak on this subject. We've played alongside each other many a times before as well. We've had many experiences, and it'll be a great opportunity for you to express some of the experiences that you have, so that, like I said, we could start a new future within the football industry. That being that we have a fair qualification system, regardless of the ethnicity, the background, etc. My first question to you is a bit more relaxed question. It takes approach from the parenting side of things as a youth or a young adult coming through the system. So if I may, Khalid, considering Asian ethnic minorities in particular, would it be fair to assume these backgrounds promote an academic route or a professional route and or even an Islamic route in terms of development for that person or that child, rather than the sports development side of things? So in essence, what I'm asking you, Khalid, are our parents giving our children enough focus, enough support, enough emotional support, as well as the confidence to break through to top flight football in England? What's your take on that, Khalid?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, the subject that you're going to touch on today, I don't think is going to fit it in today, and I think it's a long-winded project. I mean, and subject that we need to talk about. As for your question, I agree with you in so many aspects. I think what you said was.
I do agree also, because it is a wide, kind of a broad area. If you could kind of focus on the parenting side of it initially, that'd be fantastic. I'd love to take your view on that, Khalid.
Yeah, I think if you were to ask me this question possibly about 10 plus years ago, I would have said, yeah, the parents would have had some kind of issues supporting their child. I think now, with the younger generation of parents coming in that were more or less born here and raised here, they want to create a platform that's different to when they were growing up. Like, for example, myself and yourself, right?
Sure.
Our bringing up is completely different to when to what it is now. Yeah. I know, luckily, alhamdulillah, I was very, very lucky. Like, my dad was one of the main guys from the grassroots level promoting Grassroots for the young Asian people. So, you know, he's always organised leagues from the age of 16. And he just turned 61, 62 last week. So, you know, he's been promoting it for a long, long time. So, I think now, with the parents now, I think they give so much support to the kids now, where previously we were going to school, coming back, getting ready, having quick supper and going, tea, and going to mosque for prayers.
Straight after school, I take it. Okay.
And it's like usually from 5 till about 7:30. That was more or less the standard time that everybody did.
Yeah, the mosque times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, that in them days, it used to stop us going to training sessions. So we never used to get that. And our parents used to say, no, your mosque studies come first.
Would you therefore say that you had mosque lessons at the time of training for football?
Yeah, and sometimes even matched. So if you were playing for an English team,
yeah,
right, majority of the time, and at the time there was no Asian teams anyway, at a young level, at a young age, where previously, so now there is loads of ethnic minority teams where, you know, everybody's supporting each other in a lot of ways. Yeah, the politics is still there with the Asians and stuff, because you'll never get rid of that. But, there's a lot more avenues for kids to go into now compared to previously. So back in the day, like when it comes to masjid time for me to go to the mosque, alhamdulillah, for myself, I'm speaking for myself, my dad was saying, no, you know what, I'll write a letter to your mosque teacher. Even though he never used to.
Even though that's a little bit naughty there, Cal.
But my dad used to write me a mosque letter, or sometimes I used to fake it. So if any of my Malvis are watching now, I wrote them down myself.
But I mean, in essence, there was a conflict of interest, a conflict there. Obviously, you've got Islam, which is a priority, number one priority.
100%.
Growing up, we need to know Tawheed, our Aqidah, we need to know what our direction of life is. That's aside from all our academic or our professional or our sports development. Yeah. So that one may assume that takes priority on that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is this jeopardy that you're putting on your sports development.
Yeah.
How did you juggle that personally? So like you say, your dad obviously may have sent letters, or you got around with it, around that scenario. Did you, when you're missing out these key sessions, did that have an impact on your development?
In a way, yeah, but that speaking for myself, like, so when it comes down to training, I knew majority of the time it was going to happen. So I explained that to my coach. Luckily, the teams I played for were very open and understanding, and because I was more or less the only Asian lad in that team. Mm-hmm. I remember playing for Blue Star back in the day. I was the only Asian lad at the time. We weren't that good anyway. But I started off, funny enough, people always say to me, oh, you're a good goalkeeper or whatever. But, you know, where my original position was, I was never good at it. I was absolutely awful at it. I used to play up front, and then, you know what, I used to face towards the wing, right? And I was just one of them, just run down and shoot. And
that was in your early part of your career. Since I've been playing with you, you've always been a goalkeeper, and a fantastic goalkeeper at that as well.
Exactly that. You know, I tried my best. But the goalkeeping it was at a school. It was one day after school. I went to the school game, and I think our keeper got injured. I was playing outfield. I was on the bench. I can't remember what it was. And one of the other lads turns around and says, "Oh, Cal, you know, when we're just having a kick about, Cal goes in nets. Why don't you put Cal in nets?" So my teacher, because they had a penalty as well at the same time, and our keeper got injured. So my teacher goes to me, "Cal, do you fancy going in nets?" So I just turned around. I was like, oh my God, this is big pressure, this. And I think I was about 9, 10 years old. So I was like, all right, cool. So I went in nets. Anyway, I saved the penalty. That was it. Every week I would get chosen to be the goalkeeper. So I just took it up, and then obviously my dad was running these grassroots leagues for the juniors at the time. The Hawthorns League, the classic Hawthorns League. And from there, that's where I went forward. And as I grew into it, I wasn't concentrating as much on the 11th side. It was a season after where we started concentrating on 11th side.
Yeah.
And that was our own team. And basically what we did, well, it was my dad and Javid Feroz and a few others that helped him out, but mainly them two guys. They created this platform for young Asian kids where I don't think it was done before. So we were basically like the prototype. So we were this young Asian team stepping up into a Saturday league. And I think it was Saturday. Yeah, it was a Saturday league on a Saturday morning. And we were going into this English league, and we were the first Asian team of that, from the age, I think it was 10 years old. And and I'll be honest with you, we dominated that league. We went unbeaten the whole season, and we won the double. So
okay, is that same season?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's great in terms of your personal development. I can see that I feel as though you've had a lot of encouragement coming from home. Your father, your dad, actually being on, hands-on and proactively involved in your development. But right across the board, Khalid, I'm not seeing ethnic minorities actually coming through. I mean, let's take Blackburn for example. You're from Blackburn. I'm originally from Accrington. I've played a lot of my football in Blackburn, and I see a lot of Asian players, great talented players. I mean, they could really give a run for the money. So whilst we're having parents not focusing on their children, and we have talented youngsters, what's the bridging gap there, Khalid? Why are we missing this? Are we missing a trick there? Is it more of a kind of the bodies that are involved, the regulation bodies, or the sport infrastructure that's not there? Would you say parents as a whole have not really, the previous generation have not proactively got involved, or their commitments haven't lined up as such and pushed the sporting agenda? Aside from yourself for a minute, I mean, I want you to think outside the box there, Khalid, because you've got a lot of experience. There's a lot of youth coming through the ranks as we speak. What's your take on that, Khalid? I mean, what can, starting from home, what kind of improvements can we make, and what kind of, what kind of empowerment can we give to our children in confidence, and how can Asian families or parents get involved with their sports development a lot more than we're accustomed to?
So going off what you just said, I mean, there is a massive stumbling block, and I don't think it's just the parents. I think I think you've asked whether the FAs and all that stuff, do they have an issue, or do you have an issue? I mean, my personal view is, I think it starts on the top.
Okay.
And I mean the top, so which is the FA, then it goes down to the county FAs, but then it also involving the clubs, the professional clubs, the semi-pro clubs. I think there's something there that's massive, that affects everything. And my dad's dream was always to have, from a very young age, from when I was growing up, to have the first. He wants to be one of the guys to bring in this first Asian ever footballer in the Premiership. Because you've had a few Asian footballers in the conference or in the National League, but never in the actual Premiership. And why is it that they're not there? And personally, I've had one of my best friends, Shaquille Butt, who was at Burnley. And from the age of, I think, 12, 13, he got taken on at Burnley, released at 17, 18. Why? He had everything about him. Genuinely, right, I'll be honest with you, I've never seen a more talented player in my life than Shaquille Butt. He was,
mashallah, I have to have a mention there. I played alongside with Shaquille Butt many years, and this is what brings me to this show. When I see players like Shaquille Butt, and they have done so much in the early parts of their career. They speak, live, eat, breathe football. And they have walked into many pitches in Blackburn with a diverse ethnic background. You've got whites, blacks, Asians, all playing together. We've played in tournaments and we've won. When we put people, I'll keep myself and yourself out of it. Let's talk about this individual Shaky Butt. When you put a person of that type of skill set amongst all of the footballers, I mean, I mean, he goes way far and beyond.
Oh,
His skill set is unrivaled with.
I think he was untouchable. He was,
he was a superstar.
He was.
So
well,
his father owned.
I think you're right there. I think he was. I know if he's watching this, he's not going to be happy with me saying that. But he was a superstar. I think he's losing it as he's getting older.
Well, do you know, you say that, but that true talent never really dies.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I would always, and this is what brings me to this show, and this is what brings me to these questions, is how do we, if we have another skill book coming through the ranks and coming through the system, and you have scouts like the Burnley Football Club picking him up, what's gonna make them stay? Why did he get released? We've got a comment on YouTube from Mr. L. Roberts. I think it would be great to have Muslims joining the Premier League. That's fantastic. That's what we're talking about, Mr. Earl Roberts. Keep tuned, keep commenting. We want to obviously create more awareness and get ethnic minorities into top flight football. So yeah, keep coming on them and then comments. So coming back on
I agree with him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Homegrown. At the moment, we don't have any homegrown Asian Muslims playing in the Premiership. Homegrown talent.
No, we don't at the moment. Hopefully by shows like this and debates like this where we could ruffle the feathers off the Football Association, the Premier League divisions, all the local establishments that could promote this, we will start to find more players in top flight football. But coming back onto the previous point there, Khalid, how do we keep players like our superstar in Blackburn, who's pretty well known, he's done everything that was asked of him. He passed everything that he got put through, and he come out trumps. But unfortunately, I'm tearing my hair out, and I'm sure you're doing a pretty good job of tearing your own hair out there.
Whoa! Now you're touching a touchy subject, bro. I've got alopecia. I'm not laughing yet.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you great recovery, speedy recovery in every area of your life. And how do we stop that from happening again, Khalid? We're seeing youth come up, young superstars coming up. Why are they not reaching that top flight status?
Shall I be honest with you? Genuinely, I think it's not the individual. I think there's something there, and I know we might say it's racism, and people say, well, it's an easy thing to go off, right? There's reasons why. So at the moment, the population in the UK of Asian people, what is it?
I believe if you're looking at Pakistanis, I believe it's 1.29 million in the UK as Pakistanis. Now that's not the ethnic minority as a whole. Right. That's just the Pakistani community. Right. I've not looked at it myself.
So okay, fair enough.
But it's high. It'll be pretty high.
Right. So
there's enough numbers there, Calvin.
Oh, 100%. So you saying to me that not one of them, right? And I'm not just talking Pakistanis, I'm talking this covers Indians, Bangladeshis, Sri Lankans, because we're all from the same
continent,
yeah,
Asia, right?
Why is it that not a single one of them has not made it to the pro levels? So you say to me, is us? I've seen locally the talent that we could have, 100%. I think the talent, but it's not just there. It's not just in the playing wise. You look at refereeing wise. We did have one who was previously from Blackburn. He's still from Blackburn, and he's a very good friend of mine because obviously I was refereeing, and more or less I started off a couple of years after him. Mohamed Batadar.
You're talking about Mo, yeah, okay.
Yeah, right, Mohamed Batadar.
Mo was in that premiership game with Arsenal, I believe, was it?
Yeah, well, he's done many games. He was on the Premier League.
Controversial. There's a very specific controversial moment.
Oh well, you know what? Because he's a good friend of mine, I'm not going to touch up on that. But
I don't want to. All the best.
I think the game that you're on. I think the game that you're on about was Chelsea Liverpool. About an incident.
Chelsea and Liverpool. Cole was involved as well, I believe.
Yeah.
That's it, right? Yeah.
So, well, basically, Mo Matador, Football League referee. Assistant line. Well, they call it in our terms linesman, but as a professional term, it's assistant referee. He was on the Premier League on the line, and he was on the UEFA Europa League as well on the line. Yeah? Okay. Apart from him, he was the first person, I think, and it was a massive milestone that he's got there, right? There's no managers.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's not just managers, no coaches, there's not even. I think there's one first aider who was at Liverpool. I can't remember his name. He was an Asian lad who was at Liverpool a couple of seasons ago, because he used to come on TV quite a lot as well. When every time somebody got injured, the physio. But
yes, his name skips me. I think I know you're about
right.
it.
But apart from
that, we're not seeing.
Right. So it's not just saying playing wise. So you saying to me that none of these guys can even make it to the pro in refereeing or coaching, as a proper. Now, Mo Matador was an assistant referee, right? I got to a semi-pro level refereeing, and I seen certain things that I didn't want to go ahead with it, because to get there you had to basically change a lot of your lifestyle, right? Okay. Right, and that means
so you're talking realigning yourself to another culture, maybe.
Yes.
So you have to kind of drop the things you know and realign yourself with something that's more suitable
and fitting
and feasible.
Yeah.
So is that a concern in itself? We've got to leave it there for a second. We've got to take a short break. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment. Assalamu alaikum, welcome all viewers, welcome back. We were just discussing ethnic minorities, the lack of ethnic minorities breaking into top flight football. So welcome back. We have Khalid on the show. We were just discussing your experience as a referee and what you've kind of personally experienced and the reasons why we are finding the lack of ethnic minorities coming into top flight football. So, Khalid, you were just mentioning before the break that having to realign yourself to a new norm, something that's more fitting and more feasible to the football industry. Okay, so would you say yourself you're quite of a strong character, and if you're going through such alignment, you can do that, but are we also there facing that if somebody is great in football, has a fantastic personality, or is fluid and flows in the way he plays his football, does that automatically mean that he's confident enough to align himself to this new norm in this industry? And therefore, does that open up areas if he's not as confident as he is with his mouth or brain than he is with his feet, that he therefore has to leave that passion, and therefore we lose another player and another member, another ethnic minority breaking through? So what's your take on that, Khalid? I mean, what if we cannot allow, what if personality constraints do not allow for that remoulding? Is that a concern?
Yeah.
Is that one of the concerns?
I think we'll never be able to pinpoint what the actual issues are, why we can't have Asian footballers in the Premiership. Right? It's not just I talk about the Premiership because we've never had it, right? So, you see, all of these questions. We can talk about it all day long, but it's something that needs to be done and go forward, and we don't have that at the moment. And we will never know. I mean, like, as I was saying, touching upon. So you've got your coaches, you've got your referees, you've got so many other things that it rolls in the professional game, and then there's none of us there. You look at the actual FA. I question. I know I'm going to go just slightly off your question, right? There was an incident a couple of years ago. So on the Lancashire FA tweeting, going about Twitter.
Yeah.
So it was. We've got in Lancashire, as in the referees wise, we've got possibly the highest number of ethnic minority referees.
Okay,
yeah?
in Blackburn.
Yeah. Well, in Lancashire itself, but Blackburn has.
Compared to the rest of the UK.
Yeah, Blackburn has probably got the biggest, and that's all because of the likes of my dad and Mo Matador and stuff like that. They have helped develop these young referees, and I mean I help out as well.
Well, that's great.
Right.
That's great, Khalid.
So going back to a certain incident a couple of years ago. Sorry, I'm not touching upon your question that you asked me.
No, we could come back on.
Because
in terms of remoulding and the person.
The thing is about myself, because I've been there in managing, refereeing, coaching, playing. You know, I've got a lot of experiences, and we've only got a short amount of time. But I want to give you certain things that why it might put people off.
Yeah.
So 2 seasons ago, Lancashire FA, he decided to tweet this picture, and it was a collage of referees, and it was a Christmas one. And basically, what he's done is put on all the referees. So anyway, on that collage of referees, there must have been at least 40 to 50 referees.
Okay.
On one of the pictures, we being from the ethnic minority, on one of the pictures, basically on this collage, it was one picture in the bottom left-hand corner where you had to zoom in to see it, right? All the referees were
so you couldn't see the ethnic minority referee as such, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They never had any individual pictures of these referees, but basically they had this one of Tawhidul School, where they were promoting and helping out referees get past because they've come out with this arrangement with Lancashire FA. So they had this collage, 40 referees, all individual pictures, but then they had one bottom corner on the left hand side, and it was like basically, you know, when you take a school year picture, and where they all stood in a line.
So there's zero focus on the referee.
Yeah.
Zero focus
on an individual.
And an individual who's come through the ranks.
Yeah.
As a referee, he didn't get exposure.
Yeah, but it wasn't what they did. Like every other photo was an individual picture of a referee.
Right, okay.
But this one they did a massive. Well, it was a small. Like I said, it was only a small picture, but it was basically all of them on one picture. Right, and it just didn't make sense to me, and it wasn't because you had to zoom into that picture, where the others, because it was individuals, you don't have to zoom into them to see that picture. So anyway, what happened was
So is it fair to say there is a difference in display?
Yeah.
There's a clear difference in displaying.
So I I tweeted the Lancashire FA, and I got this picture, and I tweeted them, and I said, "Are you saying to me that out of all the ethnic minorities referees, that you could only pick out this picture and fit it on one picture where everybody has their own individual pictures?"
So you had emailed this and I tweeted.
To the Lancashire FA. Yeah.
Okay. To the Lancashire FA.
Yeah.
Okay.
The response I got back was, it wasn't intended to be like that. It was just the way it's come across. At the same time, when I emailed this, I did ask the question of Lancashire FA on how many people do you have from the ethnic minority background working at Lancashire FA headquarters or employed by them?
In their headquarters, okay.
Or employed by them, yeah?
Yeah.
I tweeted this. Anyway, from the next day, from the disciplinary department, I get an email. "Is this your Twitter account?" I said, "Yes." "Well, I have been told from the head of Lancashire FA to suspend you and take action against you for asking this question. Well, for tweeting this." So
quite absurd there, Cam.
Yeah, I've actually got this on. I've still got the emails from the Lancashire FA, right?
And
so
that's come from the headquarters, has it?
Yeah, the Lancashire FA, which is based in Leyland. So I was like, "Why are you going to suspend me for what?" Basically, it was a threatening email. So I replied back. I said, "On what grounds?"
Did you feel threatened?
Oh, too right. I felt threatened.
Yeah.
I was just like, "Whoa, what? For simply asking a simple question because I would like to know, And there was a reason behind it why I wanted to know. Like I said, this picture was one of the reasonings why I want to know on how many Asian people are working at Lancashire FA. So she's emailed me back. The Haley, she called from the disciplinary department. She emailed me back and she goes, "Well, I did get an email from the head of Lancashire FA saying that we wanted to suspend you, but I think it's the wrong approach on how to approach this. And what you should have done, instead of tweeting us, you should have emailed us and privately asked us. And I would have more than happy to answer your question for you. To the answer of your question, we have got roughly around 4 to 5% in our company working from the BAME background.
The black and ethnic minority background, yeah. 45%.
4, not 45.
4, 2, 5.
Yeah, 4 to 5.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
4%.
Yeah.
Is that just, one may assume that's just to say we have somebody...
I think, based on my personal opinion, I think it's just tick boxes.
So you just tick the box and say, well, we have employed one person.
Yeah.
But would you say that's probably what it is?
Yeah.
Well, I'm
100%.
sure you'd be quite taken back by that email. So what happened after that? Did you get back in touch with them, or is that conversation pending, or did you get some?
I did reply back to him, and it was responding back to saying that how can you even threaten to suspend me for this? But it wasn't just suspending. It was basically, once you get suspended, it's suspended all throughout Grassroots. So whether that's coaching, coaching aspect, managing aspect, refereeing and playing, it's basically all of them, just for asking a simple question. So going back to the professional game, right? Yeah. Where you're asking why can't players not make it? Now this is somewhere who's in charge of the Lancashire area, and I'm talking just of Blackburn, yeah. So now when you're talking of because basically they are a governing body here. Yeah. So when they've got that there, and it's just, it's all of these things that are linked from one to another to another to another. It's everything that's linked together. For me personally, that's my personal opinion. And I personally think at the moment we are still a long way off for an Asian player to play in the Premiership. I still think that we're at least 20 years off. Personally.
That's a heck of a long time there, Khalid. I mean, 20 years from...
Well, if it's not happened right now, right, I look at the players that I grew up with, and we've mentioned one lad, yeah?
Yeah.
There's a few others, but why is it up to now? Why just... I'm just talking, just in Blackburn, right? Now you're talking the whole of UK. Now you said there's roughly around one... Say, for argument's sake, there's 1 million...
Just for argument's sake, yeah. I mean, there's no facts on them figures. Yeah, let's say 1 million across the board.
Yeah.
That's a safe figure.
And none of them's made it to professional level.
Well, after the 1 million, like I say, our parents are pushing on academic routes and other routes which we're more comfortable with and we feel we will secure a spot. After them, I'd say, I mean, how many active footballers do we have in Blackburn?
I think a majority of us live football,
Yeah, I mean, I've played in Richmond alongside yourself for so many years, and I've
grassroots teams in Blackburn, right? This is just going on. I know for the kids, there's at least 7 clubs. Yeah, this is not individual teams. I'm talking 7 clubs out there. This is for kids, juniors, right? Yeah. You're talking senior level. In the Blackburn, that playing Blackburn combination on a Saturday, we included myself, which is Blackburn Elite FC. There is at least another 8, right?
Teams. Okay.
7 to 8 teams
with a squad of 20 players.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, possibly this is probably the highest. Again, not accurate figures, but this is assumptions and going off. Is probably the highest in the whole of UK, because I don't see any other or heard of any other league having that many Asian. I'm not talking about the black community. No disrespect to it. I'm not meaning it in that way. I'm talking about the actual Asian teams. The 7 to 8 teams in the Blackburn combination playing
actively now playing
actively that are members of the Blackburn combination.
Well, we hope to see some of them players break through to top flight football, and that's our show today. We want to create awareness about ethnic minorities. Khalid, you've touched on a big point there with the FA and their presentation and their basically their publications as such, and the lack of showman for the ethnic minorities.
Oh yeah.
Right. So are you therefore saying, or is it safe to assume therefore, the problem and the issues that we are basically being addressed, or we are addressing, is more governing bodies? Are we breaking down? Are they hiding behind somewhere? Are they not coming forward? Is this a smoke screen as such? I mean, why are we finding it so difficult to put our finger on it, and then recognise the unknown and then address the issue? Do you feel that maybe they don't want ethnic minorities in the top flight football?
Well,
and if so, why would that be, Khalid?
So, I mean, right, look, every club has their own ways of going about things, right? So obviously, for example, Lancashire FA don't speak on Blackburn Rovers, who can they bring in or whatever. So
okay.
I'm just talking about governing bodies. So now individual clubs itself, yeah, I think there's a lot of discrimination in the clubs in itself, that why they're not bringing players forward. Yeah, because they've got to answer that question themselves. Why are we not seeing Asian players coming in? What are we doing to cater for these guys? Now,
I mean, it's quite blatant, isn't it?
There's a lot of aspects that we've got to take into consideration. We've got to look at ourselves, yeah? So one is our attitude and commitment. Do we have that? And I think with the youth growing in right now, I think they've all got it. Because I'll tell you why. It's going to sound funny, this. But you look at the money at the moment in the game.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Massive.
Right?
Huge. I want a piece of it.
Right. Asian people love... I mean, I'm not saying that the other cultures or the other religions or whatever, they don't like money, right? But the Asians... So, majority of the time, you're growing up. And most
I'd say with a pretty good workforce, Khalid.
Most Asian parents want their kids to become professionals in some kind of profession, like doctors, opticians, things like that.
Yeah, right? Lawyer, solicitor, barrister, etc. So forth.
Yeah. So now they look at the footballing game and they think, oh my God. So for example, Pogba's worth 80, how much did he sell for? Is it 80 million, 85 million, right? But then his contract, you look at Ozil's contract, you look at Aubameyang's contract, you took in all these professional players. So the parents are thinking, now, you know what, I need to support my kid. And it has been like this for the last possibly 10 years, where the money's just gone crazy in the footballing game. So as well as concentrating on their studies, but they didn't, so there's still something there that's stopping. And it's not, you can't take like the attitude and the commitment. So not everybody's the same. So out of 10, even if one of them has got everything, why is he still not going forward? What's wrong with it?
Why is he still not going forward? That is the question. Age 5 to 10 years to get to academy. What time do academies train when Muslims kids go to mosques? That is the question. We've got to think about this.
That's from Hussain Mahmood as well, from Preston.
That's Hussain Mahmood, the person himself. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we did touch on this point earlier, if Hussain might have tuned in a little bit later, but that was one of our first that's what we addressed first. Does our timing clash? Is our values at home, is it a natural conflict of interest? So jumping back on that, stay tuned with us there, Hussain Mahmood. What you're saying to me there, if I've understood you right, Khalid, in which I'm trying to also, from a footballer's position, I'm trying to understand. It's not a talent issue.
No, it's definitely not a talent issue.
Not a talent issue.
I think we've got the talent.
Right. Would it therefore be safe to say that when ethnic minorities are winning all competitions, are winning the combination leagues, and these leagues are mixed leagues, you've got all types of backgrounds, if they're winning all the tournaments, they're winning all the trophies, yet the FA is not asking the question, why are we not seeing ethnic minorities come into top flight football? Is it maybe the case that question will never surface? Is it the case that we continue with our shows, get our audiences involved, start to ruffle the feather of these big cats sat in some influential positions, which we can start to talk to? Can we possibly shout out to members of the Football Association and start to really unravel this trickery or this
I think you've
camouflage
you've
of
hit something
sorts.
there.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think you've hit something there because.
And how are we going to go around this, Khalid? And in time to come.
Well, do you know what? Starting off things like this, right? I think these are subjects that need to be touched on, right? And I think you're bang on. And I think, when it comes to mainstream media, like the TVs and stuff, I think people hide and they're scared because of Ofcom and what can be said and what can't be said. And it's having these avenues and it's having the viewers as TVs and TVs. 2 years ago, I had a guy from ITV, yeah? He contacted me and he goes, Carl, I want to do a project on your team or whatever, because I've been watching or whatever. He come down and recorded the whole game. Interviewed me for 4 hours after the game. Guess how much of that was on TV? None of my interview. My team got displayed. It was on a BBC, ITV News at 6 or something. It got displayed for about 30 seconds. He didn't even touch upon the subjects that I wanted to talk about. And he interviewed me for 4 hours. And this is what I mean. So when it comes to TV, mainstream media, so this is a perfect avenue for you to take this forward. And inshallah, it touches and we'll get more viewers. You'll get more views. You'll get people ringing in. You'll get people tweeting you, messaging you. Once you get the phone line going, which you've told me about your plans of getting a phone line inside here so people can ring up live phone calls. Inshallah, it'll just pick up, and then hopefully you're hitting the right people, and then from there you can take this forward yourself. And I think you'll have a massive backing from a lot of people. We're just talking Blackburn at the moment, right? And Accrington. Now you've got Preston, Bolton, you got Manchester, Birmingham, London, all of these places. And once you start hitting the small, at the moment, it's a platform that you've created. And I think, inshallah, going forward, it's going to take you a lot of places. And I'm hoping you stick at it.
Inshallah, with the likes of yourself, Khalid, and UCTV and giving us this opportunity, I have every single reason to believe that we should start to break this mould. And you've heard it yourself, guys. Experienced players playing on grassroots level, from being a referee to playing 20 years, from knowing so many talented players. We need your support. We need you to get together. We need to understand what exactly is going on in the football industry. What is it that our peers and people and the people that we are surrounded with, what is it that we need to put our finger on? I am your guy. I am here to address these issues. Thanks for all the guests for tuning in. I want you to stay tuned. This show is on a weekly show at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. Follow our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/uctv.blog. Look, guys, if we don't address this issue today, you will have another Hussain Mahmood sat here in 20 years' time talking about the same things. And if we see life then as we see it today, then we'll have lost 20 years of our life. We need to make sure that we are developing, and as a nation we're coming together. Wherever we need to go, we will get there, inshallah. Stay tuned. Blog, put your comments on my YouTube video. I want to know all about it. Everything that's in there, I will look to pick up any direction I get. I will go in there and we will start to break this mould. Khalid, you've been absolutely fantastic. You've addressed some key issues. We are not done with this at all. We have so much ground to make up. We have massive enterprises and associations not promoting this. We have to do it, and we have to do it today. It's not a case of attitude, culture or talent. It is a simple case of inequalities and discrimination which we need to kick it out of football. This is a moment to thank you very much for all your time, viewers. Thank you very much, Khalid. Thank you to UCTV. This is your Hussain. This is your host, Hussain Mahmood, on Sports Talk. Tune in for next week's show.